Good morning, everyone. So, welcome back to Cloud Village on day 2. Starting our day, we have Jerry Jones IV. He's a delivery consultant at security at AWS, where he helps customers architect and implement secure, compliant cloud solutions. He'll be leading a hands-on workshop, walking attendees through core AWS security concepts, compliance monitoring, and audit logging frameworks. So the title of his lab is AWS Foundational Governance and Risk Management. So please give him a warm welcome, Jerry.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. For one, see if we can get some more folks coming in eventually. But my name, as introduced, is Jerry Jones IV. I'm a ProServe consultant with AWS, working security. Been around for many years, probably around 8 or so. So I've been around the Fed space for a while, private space, all that fun stuff. Been there, done that. But the main point of today is actually having a fun little lab. We're going to talk about pretty much basic things for how AWS works, the security behind it, the designs. That is the goal of today. And then we'll actually be able to get into some actual messing around with the lab. Don't worry, it's all in a private space, so you don't have to worry about actually breaking anything or something like that. It's all free credits. So I hope that it will be a fun time. But first part, theory, you can sit back and relax, enjoy your teas and coffees and whatnot. We will slowly get into it. So what are we actually doing for today? It's a hands-on intro to AWS security. Point is that we're gonna go over security, identity, governance, all that kind of fun stuff. We only got around 2 hours or so. So this lab is actually for 12 hours long. It goes over all kinds of stuff, so you can get into security, IAM, deploying services, monitoring them, configurations for them, alerting on stuff. It'll be a pretty great time. If you get into that said, we will only be doing the first module and the second. So you will have more time. The lab will be up until the end of today. So you will have time, if you want to mess around with it. It ends 11 p.m. today, so there will be an end if you want to continue, but have at it. That said, this is an introductory course. It's a lab. There'll be some guides that you can use to actually help you get experience with some of this stuff, put on your resume, get your CCPs, whatever you need. But fair warning, there's going to be a lot of acronyms. I will use AWS, CEC2s, S3s, and all kinds of stuff that might be a little unfamiliar to you. I will explain them to make them easier to understand. Ideally, you follow along pretty closely. So that is the idea, but let's start with what AWS shared responsibility model actually is. So we're working in the cloud here. We're talking about a delineation between what a customer actually handles directly. So enterprise, Netflix, all those kind of folks. There is a portion that they handle and a portion that AWS handles. Specifically, the customer handles what is in the cloud. So over there, that is you. That is what you are building, what you are deploying, who can access your stuff, data classifications, encryption, and all that fun stuff. Your code, your secrets, your problems. All of that resides in your responsibility space. AWS, on the other hand, is security of the cloud. And for those who work with us or actually have messed around with the AWS environment themselves, you will find that this stuff you don't have to handle. Physical security at the AWS data centers. You don't manage those. We have people that do that for you, the hardware, the servers themselves, the high availability, the networking. Humans that you don't interact with, you don't have to speak with, they will do that. The global network, as you might know, AWS is a global platform. We have data centers in the US East, West, Japan, China, Germany, Europe. It is everywhere. And you don't have to manage any of that. You can configure things to be deployed on the East Coast and the West Coast in about 5 minutes. It's pretty amazing once you get familiar with how things work. They manage service internals from all that networking piece and even the compliance piece. So for those who work in government spaces or highly regulated environments like HIPAA or any other PCI DSS, et cetera, FedRAMP for those who know federal stuff, that is going to be all baked into the platform. You don't have to go out and actually create your own security controls. The nice thing is we do that for you. You don't have to do any of that. It makes compliance really easy when the auditors ask you, how are you securing your environment? So this is how AWS thinks about security. This is from a design perspective. This is how the entire platform is built. We have a couple of principles or key guiding principles or key guiding ideas. IAM, identity, and access. So this is really about who can access your stuff and what they can do. So you can think of your typical user as someone who might be able to interact with your application, basic stuff, versus an administrator, someone who can spin stuff up, spin stuff down, control data and where it goes, who's able to access that, encryption schemes. We use IAM to define everything that everyone is able to do. Detection. So we have all kinds of services that help you do that. Security is day zero, acronym again, but we do that as a top priority. So things like CloudTrail, which you will be able to mess around with, GuardDuty and Security Hub, these things that we'll become more familiar with as we actually get into the lab. These things are all part of the detection that we take as a very high priority. Infrastructure, right? So VPCs is a virtual private cloud. These are the things that your components and resources are deployed into. Things like firewalls and security groups and web application firewalls, that's all part of the infrastructure protection. So there's a lot of means to protect the things that you are deploying. You have to set them up yourself, but how you do that is completely up to you. Data protection, so these are your encryption schemes for how you decide to encrypt your EC2 service or your EBS volumes that are the storage components for your servers, S3 and all of the like, your secrets for access to your databases and things that you don't want anyone else to have access to, like not having plain text, for example. Probably not great for anyone who wants to not end up in the news. You use secrets and a whole host of other things. The incident response, there's a number of ways you can do this also. You can actually architect a way to automatically detect when a server has a vulnerability, spin it down, fix it, and then bring it back, and your end user does not know the difference. There are ways to implement all of this within AWS, and certainly maybe less exciting depending on who you are, but governance and compliance, which is proving that all of this actually works and you're able to attest to it. You can show them, hey, this is compliant in these kinds of ways. AWS thinks about security in these ways and a whole lot more. So the full workshop about what we're doing, maybe 2 today, maybe 3 if we can have a bonus, maybe all 7 if you are particularly ambitious today or tomorrow. This is the full workshop. We're going to go over a small section of them just because of how long it tends to take to do some of this stuff. But the goal is to at least get through 2 of them, get an introduction to the AWS setup, get access to the account, the console, the terminal, and be able to see exactly what I am talking about and put it to actual practice. So the very first step is we're going to join a workshop studio. I've already set this up. There are a number of accounts that are ready to go. You can go ahead and use the QR code, which I will show towards the end, and you'll be able to jump into it. So a couple things that helps this go smoothly because there are a lot of things that can go wrong. One, as you know, AWS is a global platform. We have a number of regions that you can operate in. Keep this in mind, and I'll be sitting around, walking around, and helping as need be, but make sure that you are in US East 1. That is our primary hub for most things. And so if you are not operating in that region, things tend to break really quickly and really easily. So don't do that. 2, we're going to be using Security Hub CSAM, which is going to be our compliance aggregator. So we're going to see a score around how your environment right now is configured, and you can actually see and use that as a base point. 3, we're going to use the email SNS service, which is your notification. So you'll actually get email. So make sure that you have access to your own email and maybe a backup one so you can kind of see. That's the point, is to be able to detect when things are wrong and be able to see them, be alerted to you immediately. And lastly, the code editor URL is optional. You can use it as a terminal base if you'd like, mess around with some code that's already built into it. Likely not get into it all that much, but if you're curious, you can kind of mess around with that. Couple of things. As I said, do not change the region. The region is how all of this is set up. If you change the region, it will likely not work. Your password code email might take a minute, check your spam and all that kind of fun stuff. Find it, it'll come. Feel free to mess around with this. You can deploy stuff, you can destroy stuff, you can set up things the way you like. It's all free credits, so have at it and don't worry about cleanup. All of this gets blown away at midnight tonight. So today is the day. There is some cloud formation templates, which is essentially how we can deploy all this stuff set up for you today. Don't worry about that. It's actually all ready to go. With that said, If you are stuck at anything or something looks wrong or you kind of got lost in the guide, raise your hand. I'm walking around, I have my water. That's literally why I'm here. There's no other reason why I'm here outside of for this. So please engage me if something pops up. The second piece is the second module. So for those who are going to be working in the space in the future, likely for all those who are working in security, you will touch this at some point. Governance and compliance is a requirement for almost any industry that you work in. So there will be a module for this one where we can go over what governance and policies and automation is going to be built into your platform, your risk management. So how do you find problems before someone else does so you can remediate them? Your actually, fun fact, if no one else has actually worked in a on-prem environment, doing this on the cloud is so much easier, because doing things on-premise to make sure that your networking is compliant with what you have on policy, it can be a pain and it takes hours and it's kind of awful. This is going to be much better. So getting familiar with some of this will actually be really helpful. And today, some of the theory that we'll go over is organizations and control tower. If you can imagine someone like Netflix, who likely has thousands of accounts, managing these all one by one is going to be a nightmare for even the best security architects. So we use organizations as a way to deploy mini OUs, which are organizational units for, say, dev, prod, QA, product 1, product 2, whatever it is. You'll see how you can theoretically set up a company to scale to millions of users that has thousands of accounts in a very controlled way. Control Tower is a piece of that. We'll read on that a little bit. Cloud Trail is a huge piece, because this is how you're going to be monitoring everything that goes on. If someone goes into your accounts and deletes things, it's going to show up there. And you can use that to backtrack to figure out what happened, why it happened, and then ideally recover from it. Config is a nice one too, because that's how you can make sure that things are as you set them. Config rules feeds into config. We'll get into all that when we get to that module. A little bit more about some of this, the organizations and control tower. This is for more be aware only type of stuff. You can see in the guide, in the lab guide, but these are ways to control a very large enterprise within AWS. Again, a single account is really good for like you and me, and we're just kind of like building stuff and kind of having fun with it. When you get into enterprise, global technologies, global scales, like these, you need organizations, because you can define service policies. These are the things that you will use to help control the entire environment. You probably want these rules up. For example, maybe you shouldn't have servers that are open to the public on open networks. Maybe you don't want that anywhere. You can either A, deploy that to every single account you have, all 1,000 of them, painful, or set one policy, apply it everywhere, and forget about it. It's easy. Control Tower is also really good for making new accounts. Maybe you don't want to have an account that is absolutely wide open and just trust your developers to do the right thing. Probably not. You can use that as a way. We'll read into it. We won't deploy too much of that today, but it'll be available if you like. CloudTrail is the kind of like the star of today, and also a huge tool that is used for security architects everywhere. This is your audit logging. In the AWS environment, API calls is how you manage and deploy pretty much anything. And to be able to network those, be able to see those on your terminals, CloudTrail records everything, and that's what you use to actually determine what happened, who made the call from where, not necessarily why. You can devise that into a little bit later. But these are stored in something called S3, or the simple storage space. We use that for pretty much everything. It's really scalable, it's pretty fantastic, and we use that by default for CloudTrail. We will dive into that in a little bit, but it captures all kinds of stuff for who's spinning up stuff where, why, or not necessarily why, but how, what permissions were being used, all that fun stuff. So in the lab, you'll have a chance to actually poke around with some of this stuff and see how it's actually done. And we'll even see the JSON, what's actually being done. It'll be, I think, a pretty cool and enlightening time. As I mentioned, config is another piece too. It's kind of central for many security architects who use AWS within their environments. So this is more like the what happened piece. Why did it happen? Is it in compliance with what I wanted it to be in the first place? It's like a recording device that determines the config space over the entire lifetime of that object. For example, our server, and you put a firewall rule on it, and it changed. What happened? Config is how you're going to actually make sure that you are aware of these things. So we'll have a chance to stop some servers, start up some servers, change some servers, and you will see that over time. And lastly, some of the conformance packs and config rules, really this is more for compliance stuff. So you'll likely work in a space where you have to comply with a certain number of rules, and how do you do that? You can make config rules. There are over 750 managed rules. There are a ton. You likely will not need all of them. So in the lab, we're actually gonna pre-deploy some of the stuff, like maybe you don't want SSH enabled for your servers, then you can make a rule for that. And you can determine when that is being broken so you can alert on it and then fix it before someone else goes in there and does things that you don't like. So ideally, there are some best practices. Use the managed rule set. It makes it really easy to avoid issues downstream. And actually, because we'll use SNS for the email, you'll actually see deploy something, change something, alert on it, and then be notified of that thing so you can go in and fix it. We have alarms. It'll be kind of cool. And the second module, it'll be a nice flow too. So we'll have organizations and control tower. There's CloudTrail lab, config rules. We'll get into all of that. The lab is pretty self-explanatory, and so you'll have a chance to actually sit down and enjoy it. And depending on how long things take, there also is a third module that we might be able to get into, depending on how long it is. It tends to take around 60 to 120 minutes if you're kind of poking around and learning things or just kind of blazing through it. It depends. We'll have some bonus slides at the end also. So the point is, pace yourself. There's some demo stuff, some theory about how stuff works, but the labs are the main event. That's where you're actually getting into the environment, clicking stuff, deploying stuff. That I think is the fun part of it, because it's also free for today. So have at it. And this is essentially the access code. So actually you can use, either you can put in your URL here, there's an access code for this lab. So then we'll type that in. You get a one-time password towards your email, and then you essentially log in. Point is, once again, region is critical. Make sure that you are in the US East region. It will help things not break. That said, I'm here to help. I will be walking around and just drinking water while I am here. But 90% of the problems that go wrong is because you're either not logged into the right role, you don't have the right permissions, or you are in the wrong region. It happens even at work, so double check that. Last thing is feel free to break stuff. It doesn't matter, it's fine, it'll get blown away tomorrow. So if you want to poke around stuff and see what you can do, I say this is the time. But the easier piece, if you do not want to type in catalog.useast.1prod, is the QR code. My colleague is set up for everyone here. So feel free to scan this and you will be brought into the URL with the access code already ready to go. Put your email in and then we can kind of get started. So wait around, you can log in, have access to it, see what happens. And if we have some extra time, then we'll go into the third module. But for now, this is a good place to start. You'll have access to the environment, the lab and whatnot. Let's get started. Questions at all for right now from anyone that's here that just got here? Yes.
Lack of prep, didn't bring a laptop. I think I have nice people who let me look over their shoulder. Is there enough meat on the bone here for me to, or should I go work other workshops? I'm sure you're great, but I don't know, I want to make sure I'm going to get out of this what I want to actually get.
Well, it depends on what you want to get out of this. If you want to have a hands-on lab where you're deploying configurations, deployments.
Obviously, I don't have the hands-on, so, but I'm a security control assessor and I do compliance, and that's why the second module is what got me more attention.
Yeah, that would make sense. I would say wait around for a little bit. Once we kind of get going for the second module piece, take a look at some laptops and see if you want to hang around. It's meant to be hands-on. It would be great to have a laptop here. You can actually poke around yourself. That said, if you want to see some screens and actually see how it looks, that's probably worth the value, but certainly the biggest piece here is to have the laptop, gain access, and poke around. That is a key part of today.
Got it, understood.
Absolutely.